Did you know that one of the bravest women in the British suffragette movement was born right here in Swindon? Her name was Edith Bessie New, and her story is one of courage, conviction, and quiet beginnings in our very own town. Now it's over to me, your YouTube host, for a word or three. Hello, I'm John, and welcome to John's Box, my YouTube channel, and to the 9th part of 20 in the series Famous and Less Famous Swindonians, Alive or Dead. And as I've just mentioned, it's part 9, which is featuring Edith Bessie New, suffragette. Suffragette is a woman who fights for the right to vote using various means to attract attention, and that's exactly what Bessie New, made herself famous for. By the way, so far in the series, Famous Swindonians, the following have been featured that come to mind: XDC most recently as a group, John Frankham, the trainer and jockey, David Howe, professional golfer, Ralph Bates, novelist, writer and journalist, Sir William Arthur Stanier, GWR engineer, Rick Davis of Supertramp, David Murray John, and the famous Diana Dawes. This series has been running since 2022, when the video featuring all 20 Swindonians, a brief look at them, was made. So that was over 3 years ago. Most popular video up to now is Rick Davis's Supertramp, which has been viewed by over 3,000 people nonetheless. So the video will feature Edith's early life in Swindon and the railway town that shaped her, remembering that Swindon as a railway town was very much working class, and that was quite apt for somebody like Edith Bessie New. She was first of all a teacher, then she became a suffragette. She went to prison for her protest and then was recognised. We'll be looking at that information and her life after activism, and in what way Swindon remembers her. I'll be back for my summary and to choose the next famous Swindonian to be featured in this series. That'll be when we get to the halfway point. So sit back and relax and enjoy the next part of this video. Edith Bessie New was born on the 17th of March 1877 at 24 North Street, Swindon. Her father, Frederick James New, worked for the Great Western Railway, and her mother, Isabel, was a music teacher. Swindon was a busy railway town, full of smoke, steam, and the sound of industry, but tragedy struck when Edith was less than a year old. Her father was killed in a railway accident, leaving Isabella to raise 5 children alone. From an early age, Edith learned resilience. At just 14 years old, she began teaching at Queenstown Infant School here in Swindon, helping to support her family. Growing up in Swindon meant living side by side with working class families and railway workers, people who understood the value of hard work and the struggle for fair treatment. That atmosphere of labour rights and social awareness might just have planted the seeds of Edith's future activism. In a way, Swindon's spirit of independence and innovation helped to shape her. In 1901, Edith left Swindon for East London to continue teaching. But by 1906, she joined the Women's Social and Political Union, the WSPU, founded by none other than Emmeline Pankhurst. It wasn't long before Edith made headlines. In 1908, she and fellow activist Olivia Smith chained themselves to the railings of 10 Downing Street, shouting, "Votes for Women!" one of the first direct action protests of its kind. A few months later, Edith and Mary Lee went even further, smashing 2 windows at Downing Street to draw attention to the suffrage cause. For that, she was arrested and sent to Holloway Prison for 2 months. In prison, Edith took part in a hunger strike, demanding recognition as a political prisoner. Her bravery caught the attention of Emmeline Pankhurst herself, who visited her in Holloway. When Edith was released in August 1908, she was celebrated as a hero, paraded through the streets, showered with flowers, and cheered by her fellow suffragettes. That moment helped define the new militant phase of the women's suffrage movement. After 1909, Edith returned to teaching, this time in Lewisham, but she never stopped believing in women's rights and equal pay for teachers. She later retired to Polperrow in Cornwall, where she lived quietly until her death in 1951. For years, Edith's connection to Swindon went largely unnoticed, but in 2016, Swindon Heritage placed a blue plaque on her birthplace at 24 North Street. And more recently, a new street, Edith New Close, was named in her honour. Now, Swindon proudly remembers her as one of its own, a woman who stood up for what was right, long before it was fashionable or safe to do so. In summary then, from the small terrace house in Swindon to the gates of Downing Street, from teaching children to chaining herself in protest, Edith Bessie New showed what one determined person from an ordinary town could do to change history. She was bold, she was brave, and she was Swindon's own suffragette. Now back to me for a short summary and to choose the next famous Swindonian to be featured in this series. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that, found it interesting. Please add to the comments if you know something more about this remarkable woman. I would appreciate that. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up or down and support my channel in whatever way you can. I'm currently on 964 subs and it would be great to get to 1,000 shortly, hopefully this year. So without further ado, I'm going to choose the next Swindonian to be featured in this series. That will come up probably in the new year. And the next one to be featured is none other than Gilbert O'Sullivan. Gilbert O'Sullivan, Irish-born singer, songwriter who spent his life, but his younger life in Swindon. So that will be coming up after the new year probably. Thank you very much once again for sticking to the end, and I'll see you in another